Yo, so this is a build overview of the Papakofi rear lot subdivision, start to finish. So first met Fran last August on site and we had a look at her backyard. You know, at first thoughts, it was hard to see where a house would fit. It was a sloping site, it was tight, it had dogleg driveway access down to it, and it was overgrown and it was covered in dog turd. It was hard to see that we could fit a house there. I'd worked with Fran in the past. She used to be one of the designers at Prime Design, so I knew that she'd be all over the house design and the layout. We talked about some of the logistics of cut versus fill, piles, all of those sorts of options. In the end, we settled on doing a 1.2 meter retaining wall at the back of the site and building out on a 1.2 meter block wall at the front. After 6 months of working with Fran on plans and pricing and finalizing a contract, it was great to see some action happening on site. And this was also our first new build of 2021, so it was great to kick off another new build. So our very first job was to do the retaining wall at the back and replace all of the fences along two boundaries. You know, that's the best time to do that sort of tidy up work and really get the site established properly. The boys are carrying in what looks like massive telephone poles, some nice big retaining wall posts.
For the record.
Get this one thing clear.
So we needed to give the block wall enough time to get laid, set and filled before we could continue to fill up to it. And so Hayes Masonry worked with us to get that timeline. We were able to use time over a long weekend. We managed to incorporate that into that time period so that we could keep that progress happening on site. It's little things like that, you know, when you all work together, those little days here and there add up to be a big difference, as you'll see at the end of handover. So we finished doing base course and sand, and then on the 8th of April, the slab prep commenced. You know, now we had truly established finished ground level, or FGL, and from that point onwards, things in the build would be more of a known quantity. And so working from that concrete slab upwards, we could start to really set a schedule and we could kind of lock things in contract-wise. Yeah, as you know, we love pouring a slab and we love celebrating that. It just represents that that foundation is down and that job is kicking off. And then 3 days later, we had stood all of the frames on site. We also upgraded to RAB board on the outside. This wasn't something that was needed, but the owners opted to include. We got a roof on. This is another big milestone, roof shout, yay. As I like to do, I do a reverse roof shout. So I got the owners a box of beer and said, hey, congratulations, you've got a roof on. So on the outside, we cracked on with things like RAB and cladding and windows, usual building stuff. and we got to the 27th of June is when interior lining started. Now we did have a long holding period here, much longer than we'd like, due to frame moisture in the frames, and we ran the dehumidifiers and the fans for a solid 3 weeks straight before we were able to line the walls. Yeah, and that's just one of the things you tackle when building in winter in New Zealand. Sometimes it's hard to avoid things like that. You've just got to work around it. And obviously it changes our schedule. It meant that we had to go and find 3 weeks of work before we could come back, but that's just part of it. So then we go plaster, interior trim, that's the skirtings and architraves. Then we get the painter in, and then we get the hard floor, kitchen, soft floor. We cladded the house with James Hardy linear weatherboard and vertical linear oblique. It really didn't look like you could squeeze another house in there, eh? It was 156 square metre, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, open plan living, double garage home. It had a scullery with the laundry in the scullery. It had a study nook. Every room, every bedroom, including the living room, had an epic view of the Mana Island and the Porirua Inlet and the ocean. Yeah, kitchen's in and getting bench top measured, flooring's going down, and on Monday apparently Lockdown version 2 on this job hit around August, yep, thank you. We got the kitchen cabinets in, but we hadn't got the bench top in yet. And so the bench top going in is this real crucial moment where we can't finish off like the appliances and the electrical and the plumbing until the bench top goes in. And so it kind of got nailed at this real niggly spot, which then had like a trickle effect. Fortunately, we didn't really have too many other big material delays on this job, and we were well out in front of any of the small stuff that we knew was being held up. Wow, look at this. We got like a clean, fresh, ready for a driveway. It's amazing how much at the end, you know, like skip bin used to be there, Portaloo used to be there, building materials everywhere, and like it's all gone and it's ready for concrete. It's totally going to change the look and feel of this site. It's going to be amazing. The inside carried on. We finished off with the Sparky and the plumber. We gave it a good clean and a bunch of touch-ups. We put the wardrobes in, and then we had to go on the outside. We built a little deck that had been incorporated into the design that had to have a balustrade along the front to protect people falling off. And there's going to be a study nook right here. Sit here. Pretty cool. Like we got, so Ben, the kitchen designer, sorted all this out as well. Nice big island. I reckon real important to have a big island. Lots of stools along there. Kids, friends, sit there, have a beer, talk to people. We found in our house on the section nobody wanted, the island has become truly as like the center of the home. Logistically, it's been quite a lot of work. I'm just looking out there at the, it was the start of the year, we did the retaining wall there and we did the block wall there, and then we poured a slab. But the whole time we've had to navigate this dogleg access up there where we can back a truck up, and we have had to walk everything down to the building site. We've also had the clients living in the existing house the whole time, and they've been a dream to deal with, and I hope they feel the same about us. But it just logistically, sometimes you're inevitably playing musical cars in the driveway, and just stuff like that does kind of eat into the time spent on a subdividable. These rear lots take up a bunch of extra time just to get stuff down there and close the driveway down and access and all of those things. You got to think about all of those things right at the start. Porous concrete was not anyone's ideal situation or first choice of concrete, but it was one of these things we had to do as a resource consent condition on the site. And so the owners were like, oh well, let's just commit, let's just get it done. So we poured it. Last big day on site, let's all go. We're going to pour all this driveway and get that sorted. We've cleared out the house. The inside is literally done, finished. Now there's just one little job outside on the deck. We've got to do the balustrade. We've got code of compliance inspection on Monday and handover at the end of next week. And then we don't get to enjoy this beautiful view anymore. This is another garage where we've gone for plywood instead of jib, and just makes it a little bit more like robust, and especially if you're going to screw stuff to the wall, you can give things a whack, and you can be a little bit more rough with your tools and bikes and all that kind of stuff in here. Yeah, it's just a real a little simple upgrade that makes a big difference. It's all about working out how you're going to use these spaces. The clients have chosen a pre-made balustrade system, and it'll just kind of go in there, and then those two panels will go along there, and it'll stop you falling off the edge. That's what a balustrade does. Man, look at that view out there. It's such an amazing site, and to think this was just before someone's kind of like sloping backyard that wasn't really used. power. Boom. And then we did code of compliance inspection. We passed that with flying colors. Code got issued straight away. Fran and Fraser have moved in. They've loved the entire process. And then so here on the Monday the 11th, Fran texts me to say, we love our new house, which is awesome. They'd just spent their first weekend in the house, loved it so much, and we've also now the code certificate has been officially produced, which seals the deal, and they're able to move on with their life and enjoy their new build.